Do you ever have experiences? I know you talked about sort of the off-camera stuff with Brick Wall guy, but do you ever have experiences in those interviews where it ends with, maybe whether we see it on camera or not, that person being like, "Oh, damn!" Like, I guess
no, it's such a liberal fallacy.
Fuck.
Welcome to But Also, a podcast where we talk about politics,
but also
culture,
but also
whatever we want. Our guest today is Jordan Klepper.
God.
You know him from The Daily Show. You know him from The Opposition. You know him from Klepper. You know him.
You know him.
Great.
You definitely know him.
Yeah.
We talk today. We talk a lot of politics. This is the most politics we ever did.
That's right.
And we friggin' loved it. Platner, Trump, MAGA, all brick wall man, brick wall suit man, brick suit man,
brick suit guy.
So watch it. Listen, we love you. Backstage at that's photos taken backstage at a show at the Bell House, I think.
Littlefield.
We actually just upgraded on Apple Podcasts, though.
Changed.
Okay, this is
not upgraded.
This is not industry standard. You got like do you have official podcast photo?
Or you can look at that and you can tell this is not.
Oh, it's yeah. I can tell that somebody took that on their iPhone. Or you got the glare. Is that the official photo?
Come on, Jordan. We're not millionaires over here. We're two fired people.
You don't have a friend with a DSLR camera? Jesus Christ, you work in the entertainment industry. You go to parties where people take promo photos.
You don't realize
you can't you don't know somebody who works at Getty Photos who snapped something. I've seen you. You have like. You at least had to wear a tuxedo once in your life. You're a fancy tall drink of water.
You think it'd be better if we were wearing tuxedos?
It'd be an attempted comedy at least, and it would look a little fancy. Like, what is this? This
is not what this podcast is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be you doing this to us.
You don't know what this podcast is. Look at how you dress for this. Dress for the job you want. And so, what is the job you want with this podcast?
Well,
you want the guy who cleans out after a podcast? Is that the job?
This episode's over.
It's not even the nice Crocs. You're not even wearing your nice Crocs. And it's Crocs with socks. Everything is an affront to your guests. You understand this. This is why I've been putting off this booking for so long. Because every action you take makes me feel like I shouldn't be here right now.
Well, Jordan, it's been terrible having you. And that's the end of this episode.
Oh, I get an email that says, there's homework for this podcast. Do this. I was like, there's homework for the podcast? All right. So
homework.
I will quick homework, sure. Quick homework for the podcast.
Quick homework.
Well, as long as they take it seriously, then I'll do the quick homework. Look, and Asher can't even fucking sit. He can't even sit. His back hurts so much that he can't sit for the podcast he's invited people to be a part of.
I think, honestly, I believe that at least 80% of Asher's back pain is in his head, so I assume you shouting at him has only exacerbated whatever mental state causes his back pain.
I will own up to the fact that it was already, I threw my back out 1 week ago today. So it's been a full week.
It's an anniversary.
And it was recovering.
Okay.
Well.
Yeah.
I had therapy today, and fully it is.
And you can't see, if you're only listening to this podcast, you may not know that Asher, within, I would say 90 seconds of starting the podcast, has to stand up because his back hurts so much.
Why are they listening to this podcast? Why are you listening to this podcast? Do you know the effort these people are putting into this podcast? It's not even bare minimum. It's
not true. We talk about it every day, all day. It's all we talk about.
If you're just listening to this podcast, turn it off right now and go to YouTube and see what these fuckers are wearing, all right? They're hounding their friends to come and talk and have fun. They're giving them homework assignments, and then they're showing up.
It's easy homework.
The
homework's easy.
I got stuff to do. I don't know. I'm a dad. I got a job. All right.
Those could both be the homework. We just want you to name something you like.
No, I want you to.
Endorse dad.
Dress to impress. That's what I want you to do.
This is the best I got, brother. This is it. This is the top of the line stuff.
Gotta have slacks. You've gotta have
slacks.
This man wears chinos. I know this man. He has chinos.
I biked here. I wanted to be comfortable on my bike.
I took a scooter here. The most embarrassing form of transportation. And yet I took off my helmet. I mean, imagine if I just came on here with a helmet like a fucking old comedian. No, I took it off. I put on my nice hat because everybody wears hats here.
I wish you had come on with a helmet. I wish you had. I think that'd be darling.
Was that another homework assignment?
Yeah, actually you have to wear a helmet.
Yeah, read the email to the bottom. It says, please wear some kind of protective headgear.
And Asher is in so much pain.
Asher sat down and stood up again. In case you're only listening, Asher has now stood up and sat down since the last time I talked about it.
We've only just started, too. Like, this is the only requirement. The only requirement for a podcast, can you sit for an hour and a half? It's all people ask.
We have not started yet.
We have not
this
started?
Is it. None of this is in.
All of us is in, I guarantee it.
Oh, none of this. Our guest today is Jordan Klepper.
The Jordan Klepper.
Mm-hmm.
You might know him from The Daily Show. You might know him from The Opposition. You might know him from he's doing stand up around the country now too, aren't you?
I call it storytelling.
He's doing story.
Do you do that?
Don't look at me like that when you say
Do you
it.
call it storytelling so there's less pressure to tell jokes?
That is a great question. No, but I don't exactly know how to describe it. But it's not that novel a thing. You've seen it and you play around in this world.
I would call it dramatic.
You would call it dramatic. I call it dramatic to get the joke expectation down, for sure. I would say there's
You're talking about that like sad poetry thing you do?
Yeah, no, that's my stand-up set.
Oh, that's great, man.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
That's really funny.
It's introspective is how I like to think of it.
No, I thought I did think of it as stand-up. You consider it storytelling.
Well, the show I'm doing right now it's got a PowerPoint situation, which was actually very fun. I started doing, you guys know, with coming from the improv world and the stand-up world, they're funny beasts. I started trying to, that show started because I wanted to do the laziest thing possible, which was I wanted to write essays and then read the essays. I wanted to be like David Sedaris and let me show up and I have such compelling, well-written essays, I will read these essays. And so I started, which one I liked as a comedian, as an ability to can I actually write an interesting story and make it funny? So I did that, and then I put it up at a couple shows, just reading it. And as soon as you put it in front of that audience, that expectation is just different. It just doesn't play. And so there is that stand-up expectation. Then I brought in slideshow stuff, partially because of the stuff that we do, like a daily show. It's just fun to bounce off of the second narrative. I can show clips. And then it started stripping away what like the narrative structure of these stories I wrote. And I was like, oh, this is sort of a PowerPoint / storytelling / stand-up show. So it's a weird. I don't know what it is. It's stand-up, but it's stand-up with slides.
Is it about having not seen it? Asher has seen it. Asher's opened for you, right? Or no?
Not on the road, but we've done bits and pieces around. Have you seen the full show?
I don't think I've seen. You're talking. So we should back up and be good storytellers here. Jordan has a show called Suffering Fools that he tours the country with, playing in enormous arenas.
Enormous arenas.
I'll call them big theaters.
Big theaters.
Okay.
That's actually what I was hunting for, and I said enormous arenas, which full on sounds like.
I'm not playing arenas.
You're playing the Hollywood Bowl.
The giant Hollywood Bowl. I'm playing in nice, lovely theaters.
But you're playing like big theaters, and it's called Suffering Fools, I think, because you're talking in part about your experience on the road at MAGA rallies. Is that true?
Yes, it kind of started. I was doing stuff, and I did this with Asher a bit on the road, like Q&As on the roads and big long talks, and told a lot of stories. People were really curious about the people you run into, yada yada yada. What happened behind the scenes at the Daily Show? What happened behind the scenes at a MAGA rally? And so I was like, let me talk about these people, some reflection about myself, and sort of the cults that we find ourselves in, the masters that we serve, the people that we follow, and sort of became like a thematic show that's about my experiences out on the road, the people I talk about, and kind of how I got into all this. And so that's sort of turned into like an hour and 10-minute show.
My favorite story that you've told me from on the road is the brick guy.
Yeah.
Can you tell that story?
I do. I talk a little bit about it on the In Suffering
Or
Fools.
wall guy.
Brick
guy.
Brick suit guy.
Brick suit guy.
So you just want me to do my show for you for free on your podcast?
But that would be awesome. Because I'm just trying to think. You said it's 120 minutes, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Klepper presents Suffering Fools on this podcast right now.
But also original.
Brick suit guy is a fascinating story because we went to a rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and at Green Bay, Wisconsin, we were harassed by this guy. And that happens sometimes. More often than not, people see us and they want to talk to us or they ignore us. But sometimes people see us and they're like, we're going to make it our business to try to interrupt everything you do. And this guy was live streaming, swearing at us, telling everybody, don't talk to this guy. And he's known as the brick suit guy. He wears a giant brick suit, a bespoke brick suit.
Why is he known as the brick suit guy?
Because he wears a suit that is bespoke. Did I say bespoke?
Oh, it's bespoke.
Gets pulled up on stage by Trump. He's sort of a celebrity in that world, and he hounds us. And there was one point where literally we're trying to get away from him because we need to talk to people, and he's making it his business to make sure nobody talks to us. At one point, he hides a recording device into a brick wall to try to catch our guys
so
on
on
a
brand.
smoke break. Totally on brand.
That's the only place he can hide that.
He can sneak in there, hide his ass in front of the wall, and try to catch us.
He's pressed up against the wall, just blending in.
Just that there is. You're never going to see him. He's at all of these events. Long story short, we have it's kind of a horrendous day of filming, and usually we bounce and we're out of there before Trump is done talking. But the weather was so terrible, we get like snowed in or sleeted into Green Bay, and we all leave on different flights the next day. And I show up at the airport. My flight is delayed 3.5 hours, and Brick Suit Guy is there at the Green Bay airport. And I spent 3.5 hours with Brick Suit Guy, hashing things out, talking about life, talking about politics, and it was a wonderful, strange 3.5 hours. He's not wearing his brick suit. He's got his MAGA hats, one MAGA hat on, another side MAGA hat on his side. And as we're talking in this very tiny airport, there's multiple times people recognize me, ask for selfies, and Brick Suit Guy takes the photo and then gets back into a conversation about his political beliefs. And there was like tension at the top to try to figure out how is this other person once the cameras are off. What sort of you become very aware of is the performative nature with everybody when there's a camera around or not. Like, he's so much certain on his views. I'm playing the role of a person on television who's trying to find humor in these things. We softened and had good conversations about freaking politics. I learned elements of things that he would say on camera that were very certain about Donald Trump that off camera are much softer. He's still a Republican. I'd call him a libertarian who had skepticism about some of the BS about Donald Trump, but felt it was important for him to show strength and be like a mouthpiece for Donald Trump. And the moment I point to in the show is we have this good conversation, and we walk all the way up onto the plane, literally talking. They scan my ticket, and the ticket taker says oh, you're an emergency exit role. Do you accept all the responsibilities of being in this role in case of an emergency? And I say, yes, I do. And then I turn to Brick Suit Guy and I say, I hope this fucking freaks you out, man. And he laughs, and then I laugh, and that is kind of the whole thing. I was like, he's not insulted, completely offended. He gets that I'm fucking with him, and I get that he gets that as well. And there's that softening in this beautiful little moment. And I see him occasionally out there on the road, and we talk to each other, and we ask about each other's families, and there's a relationship between the two of us. We don't agree on much politically, but taking a step away from the cameras and the performative nature everybody has in this weird terradome of politics, you can see that guy, and he's a smart guy who's way into Donald Trump, who loves the position that he plays in the world of MAGA, and off camera with somebody like myself who also is more open and relaxed and open to other ideas. You find a little bit of spot to connect.
It feels like the good game. You know what I mean? After you or two boxers have been beating the shit out of each other, at the end of the fight they still hit gloves and hey man, what you did, I understand why you did. I understand why you punched me in the face so much. That's what you came here to do.
Yeah, that's the job. He will say that too. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he did not like the fact that I was talking to people and had seen the videos and doesn't like Daily Show videos, but at further rallies has come up to me and was like, here's the deal. I don't like the videos that you make, but he was like, but I totally understand what you're doing. People understand what they're doing. They have a right to make their own choices. So you're a part of this, as am I. So I'm not going to stop you from doing that.
So he no longer prohibits you from making the
I think we've seen each other a couple times since then, and one literally was, he was front and center at Butler where the Trump assassination attempt took place. And I saw him after that, and I asked him how he was doing. And he was emotional about it because he saw this happen in front of him and what have you. And so we talk about those things. It's the weird thing you don't get to see with these Daily Show pieces is when these MAGA events were truly happening and these Trump rallies were really happening, there is a community that is there, and I'm a part of that. I see pals who are selling T-shirts, and they might be wearing Trump hats, and they're selling Trump swag. Those are just guys who are traveling around the country selling T-shirts at MSG and also at Trump rallies and what have you, and we see them. And then I see Trump superfans who are there. I see Trump superfans who are also influencers, and you say hi to them as well. And it's not that their opinions or mine are insincere. It's just that this is the community that they now see one another in, and they understand that is these are my peers in some sort of way, and you become generous to each other in ways that humans only become when you are a part of the same, if not same team, same world.
Isn't that? Cause I feel like there's I'm not sure if I'm going to characterize this correctly. I feel like that's true amongst people sort of like at a certain level. And I feel like whenever people like, let me back up. The sort of like buddy aspect that can happen with people who disagree vehemently in private. I feel like when that comes out publicly sometimes, there's like a picture at a sports game where two people who you think would be diametrically opposed politically look like they're like someone sits next to George W. Bush.
Michelle Obama and George Bush are like best friends. Like
there
that
you
kind
go.
of thing?
Yes. And I think there's this perception when people see that where they're like, oh, both of you are traitors, kind of. Like you're not supposed to be okay with that person. And because of that, I just see both of you as elite now. You're both part of the elite class. You don't actually care about any of this. You're just elite. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So what? Yeah. What do you think about that?
You saying I'm full of shit? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying you're full of shit.
You're saying I'm full of shit?
Are you asking him if he's one of those?
No, I'm saying, what do you think? Like, how do you find the line between being okay talking with someone, finding common ground, being friendly, and also, like, at what point does someone become persona non grata? I don't connect with you. You're not someone I'm seen with. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's
I'm not phrasing the question well.
No,
but
but
you know
I
what
think
I'm
that's a
trying to
great
get at?
question because, I mean, you guys know, and working also in the late night world, we do comedy, or some of you did comedy. This is.
He's been saying that to me for years.
Yeah. No, I've never found it.
Even while you worked on this show, I believe.
Yeah, he said you used to do comedy, right?
But for some people, you can become avatars for a movement, a progressive movement, and then there's a purity test that many people on the left and on the right will ask about, like, you shouldn't be seen with that other person or what have you.
Yeah.
I think what I get to see as somebody who goes on the field and talks to people is, one, the performative nature of our beliefs. When I talk to people on the left, I will get a lot of questions about, how do you go out there and talk to MAGA folks? They're crazy. And what I always try to drill down is the things you hear are crazy, but the people are not crazy. I think it's dangerous for so many folks to see this. Like, look at that crazy person. I would never touch that crazy person. We all have family members who believe these things, and it doesn't make them crazy. We have things that we believe that are crazy, and that's where I see the friendships that I've made in the MAGA world, or at least like respected acquaintances that I've made in that world, come from these moments that are not talking about politics. They come from moments that you're talking about the 95% of the things you actually do agree on. Yeah. And so I'm sympathetic to that. I think there are some people who should make a principled stand on who they associate themselves with. I don't think the excuse of, like, they're just a human. I think, but some choices are political acts unto themselves. I could see not wanting to take a picture with George W. Bush. I think there are plenty of good reasons for that action. But also, I think a purity test of, like, that person believes that one thing. There are hateful things, and there are people that I don't associate with on the road who say really terrible, awful things. But there's some people who say things that are wild and performative, and I don't agree with, but I don't think they are crazy people that I shouldn't associate with. They are people who say things I don't agree with, who, when the cameras are off and their microphones are off and they're not performing in front of their friends, I see the human that I would relate to at a bar or a sporting event.
Do you you talk about how the people themselves are not crazy generally. It's like but they might have a belief that you're like, this is crazy. In a lot of the stuff that you do that is so funny at the rallies, it does feel like I'm frequently seeing people say something that either is already pretty fucking crazy or is like, a 3 out of 10 on the crazy, but you have a way, like, you play it up and, like, you help them. Help is maybe not the right word, but as they talk to you, they sort of expand upon their own beliefs accidentally and realize the logical end of their belief is something totally fucking insane.
Right.
My question is, do you ever think that that's not the right thing to do? Do you know do you understand what I'm asking you? I'm saying, I don't mean to be that. And what I mean is, like, whenever I watch the stuff you do, it's always so funny to me. I ask because, like, we worked on a show where at Colbert, everything was basically political. Not everything, but like a lot of stuff we wrote about was political. Mm-hmm. And there were times when
Michael wrote a song about raining fish
That's right. Also did write a song about how it rained fish.
Well, that was definitely a satire on the EPA in a way that
Yeah,
I thought was
exactly.
It's a lot to do with perestroika when you like drill down into it. It's sort of a historical piece. I guess what I'm trying to get at is when I was working at Colbert, which was recent, there would be times that we're doing political jokes, and as they're being performed, and the audience is fucking loving them, there are times when I'm like, is this good? And what I'm doing, I know there are ways in which it is good, right? Where like people have these massive shared anxieties about what's happening in the world, and so we are helping those people, I think, allay some of that anxiety. There are other times when I'm like, should we be helping allay this anxiety? Or should it be the other thing? Should we be going like, things are fucking horrible and don't laugh about this. It's actually so bad that you shouldn't. Are there ever times when you're doing what you do and that you're like a full, I don't know if there's anyone better at doing it than you are, a full master at it. Are there ever times when you're like, maybe this isn't helpful? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, well, I think a couple things in there. I think it's important working on these late night shows to remember what our skill set is, why we're hired to do that thing, right? I think you can't approach it from an activist standpoint of like, how am I helpful towards that? I don't want to be harmful to the national discourse, but my job is not to advocate on behalf of a politician who is unable to articulate their beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, we all got hired because we are able to find comedy and quickly summarize a story or point out a flaw or BS or an absurdity in a way that creates connection or laughter in some way, right? So I think there's an element of that where my head is at like, all right, what do? I could yell, and this is more like also creating like a headline if you're doing an opening monologue for The Daily Show. There's a version of that headline where you're just angry, but then you're just a pundit on MSNBC or on Fox. You're just somebody who's angry. The skill set we have is like, well, we can digest this into ways that can show hypocrisy, find humor, find moments. So that to me is like the job part of it all. And secondarily, when I'm out in the field, like what I'm most compelled by is twofold. Is like finding hypocrisy with people, trying to get those moments where I see a lot of people who live in bubbles who are never challenged, and in this moment you get to see somebody think through their own logic before they've had a chance to think through their own logic. To me, that's funny. To me, that's compelling.
It's all 100% funny every time.
To me,
when you do it.
Oh yeah, but I think and anthropological at times. And there are times where like I'm playing the yes and game. It's essentially an improv game out there, and where to me you're getting people to go to these wild places that are extensions of the things they believe that they haven't thought of.
Right.
And in some ways, to me, what is funny or at least interesting about that is showing how malleable people are in those moments. You're always kind of questioning to make sure you're not like punching down. To me, it's more about like there's some hateful things out there. I'm interested in trying to show that hypocrisy where I can, but I don't approach it from an activist standpoint, more from like a curiosity and a humorous standpoint.
I always thought of it, tell me if this is putting too much on it. It feels to me a little bit like a Socratic dialogue, because generally you are, in the ones I've seen, I don't feel like you're often pushing a specific point of view. You're more asking leading questions to help them arrive at maybe your conclusion, or just maybe to arrive at whatever conclusion they're going to land at, which feels very Socratic. I mean, have you read a lot of these dialogues?
I have literally no idea what you're talking about. I know who Socrates was.
In all the Socratic dialogues, generally they follow the structure of Socrates is walking down the street and he runs into some guy, and then the name of the guy is always, that's the dialogue. It'll be like the Crito, and this is where he talks to this guy Crito. And usually he'll just challenge them on some belief that feels kind of simple to them. And then he just keeps pushing them until they're forced to re-examine their belief. But the funny thing is Socrates as a guy, his whole thing is he's famous for saying the only thing I know is that I don't know anything. So he's never actually saying this is the truth. He's more just saying, oh, interesting, you think that? Whoa, surely if you think that, then you must think this. And then that person goes, oh, well, I don't know if I think that second thing. He's like, oh, well, but you believe the first thing. And well, help me understand how that doesn't follow then. And then they're like, well, I can't. And the funny thing, the difference is in the Socratic dialogues, they're always like, oh my God, thank you, Socrates, you showed me the light. Whereas I feel like in yours, they're always like, and I still believe what I came here believing. So maybe that's the difference.
I think that might be the difference.
That.
They actually get somewhere. Yeah, we are just living in a circle. Just
of course, he also was put to death, so, maybe the end is better. Maybe your end is better.
Yeah, there's no hemlock in this, right? Was it hemlock?
It was hemlock.
Yeah.
No hemlock.
I mean, questions are beautiful, strange things. It's if you dig down into it, we all come from the improv world where questions are no-nos because they put people on the spot. I think when I watch Donald Trump and I watch people interview Donald Trump, I think part of his superpower is his ability to change direction and never have to answer a follow-up. Like the thing that you want from Donald Trump more often than not is like that Jonathan Swan interview. Is not that like he bounces to 10 different things and nobody has enough time to really follow up on that one thing. It's somebody sitting down and be like, no, explain that. No, explain that. Well, you didn't explain that. So explain that. And if you actually believe that, then this is a hypocrisy. No, don't change the subject. That's the hypocrisy. Address the hypocrisy. Address the hypocrisy. Nobody gets time to do that because he just keeps changing the subject and or moving on to somebody else, and he only gives that person 12 minutes to talk about it, and they have to talk about 17 different things. So there's a catharsis in these moments where it's like, I actually do have 5 minutes with a person who believes a crazy thing. That crazy thing they bought off of television, and that crazy thing is being enacted into policy across this country, and it has real world effects. But I know you from the 5 minutes I've spent with you, and you're not an asshole. You're a kind person, but you've never been pushed like this. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions out there and see where that goes. Like, I think that is just inherently compelling and Socratic in many different ways.
Yeah.
Do you ever have experiences? I know you talked about sort of the off-camera stuff with Brick Wall guy, but do you ever have experiences in those interviews where it ends with, maybe whether we see it on camera or not, that person being like, "Oh, damn!" Like, I guess
no, it's
never
such a liberal fallacy.
Do you think that?
Well, there's been a couple moments of people being open in ways I hadn't seen before. After Trump won this last election and I was there for like inauguration weekend, and I remember challenging somebody with some information that they hadn't seen before, and the end of the interview was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll look into that." Partially because they were all in the like orgasmic bliss of winning the election. Like there was no challenging on that inauguration weekend. Everybody's in such happy moods. They're like, "Sure, I'll talk to you." And you get it with a gotcha, and they'll be like, "I don't fucking care." Donald Trump's got
good for you,
term.
buddy.
Yeah,
fuck off.
It was such like
we won, dude.
so happy. They were so happy. So there was like an interesting moment of openness. It was like, cool. All right. Well, that sounds wild to me. I'll check it out. Thanks. So you have little glimpses of that, but I do think it is it's a fallacy to think you're going to change somebody's mind by pointing out the hypocrisy in the new information. And again, which is not the intention of the Fingers the Pulse pieces. The intention is to find hypocrisy and comedy.
Yeah, sure.
I think the closest I've seen is these moments like Brick Suit Guy. It's when people aren't we're always performing. We're performing on our social media's only performances, our Facebook, our only performances, in front of the cameras, in front of our friends. Everybody's performing these certain versions of themselves. And the closest I've ever gotten is when you drop that and you are uncertain in some way, you're unsure about some things. Trust me, talking to Brick Suit Guy, talking to some of these MAGA folks, and you get into like economic policy, and like, I want to act like I'm certain and know my shit about economic. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what tariffs are going to do. I know what people have told me tariffs are going to do, and I can be very certain about tariffs, especially 2.5 years ago when I was arguing with people about it. But I found myself like having to be so much more certain in those spaces. And then there are times where, off camera most often, like where I would express my uncertainty about the things that I don't know. It's like, well, I think this policy is cruel. I don't know about this policy. This foreign policy seems strange to me, but I can't speak on that. Those moments of uncertainty and grace allowed other people to lower their guards and show those moments of uncertainty and grace, which to me is where, if not minds are being changed, are open to being changed. Which again, it comes from like you have to secede ground if you actually want somebody else to entertain the possibility of thinking something different.
It's almost like the only thing we know is that we don't know anything.
Holy shit.
It's almost like Socrates is right on. You know, I had this thought because I feel like once in a while this happens where Trump will do something and reflexively you think, well, that's bad. And you're like, wait, it's not bad just because he's doing it. Let me actually think about this. I remember when he was going after the Department of Education. And I'll just own for myself. I didn't really know what the Department of Education did. nor do I really now. But at the time, I really didn't. I knew that it existed. I knew it had been around for a while, but it was a newer agency. Like compared to other agents or departments, it's newer. I forget what year it was formed. But I remember in that moment, I had the reflexive, oh, we have to keep the DOE. What are you talking about? We've got to keep the DOE. And then I was like, wait, hold on a second. Look up what the DOE does. At least know what you're advocating for. Don't just reflexively say, because he's doing it, it's a bad thing. I don't remember where I landed at the time. But do you support the DOE?
110%. No, I think that is.
I honestly don't know. I don't remember.
That is a great example because this is what the populist movement is. What is so compelling about him, at least in the first wave, is like, is there bloat in the government? Yes. Or should we be distrustful of these institutions? We totally should. Like he was tapping in initially to what most Americans feel. And is there bloat? Like Doge, in and of itself, there are good ideas within there. Should we have an organization that looks at government bloat and tries to fix it? Of course we should. The problem is, it's an insincere argument in that they put in toadies to come in and destroy agencies without any foresight and thought. And that's what becomes like the knee jerk now of like, I don't trust that they're going to do that thing well, I think is a fair knee jerk. The knee jerk of like, oh, this is automatically bad because he thinks it, is one that's always worth reconciling with. But yet again, that opinion, there's no cultural cachet for that opinion. For you being what good does that do you? Nothing. That's not going to get you anything on social media. That's not going to get a joke on television. That's not going to get you any more friends. That's not going to make you cool amongst your pals. Like you being like, I'm not so sure about this. I'm going to think about it. We don't create any spaces where that pause gets you any social capital.
I think that's like so accurate. And I do think also that at least both of us are two people who, in our conversations about politics, frequently, like when we'd be working on stuff at Colbert, would be like, I don't really know if I know what the fuck I'm talking, like if what I'm writing right now or my understanding of this subject is full enough that I really can be writing this thing. And I know that my knowledge of it is better than most people only because I've got a research team who's like serving me up nuggets of this all the time. But I do wish, to what you're saying, that there was more reverence for uncertainty, if only because I'm uncertain like all the time.
Sure.
I don't understand how everybody has, we just all know. Like, okay, I'll give you one. This might be bad, what I'm about to say. And you guys can tell me.
I'm so excited for what you're about to say.
You can tell me if it's bad.
I admitted I don't know if the DOE is good. So that's our current riskiest statement so far is I don't know if the DOE is good. This could topple that.
We're red pilling ourselves. Okay. Okay, so here's a question about a subject that I really don't know that much about.
Okay.
Voter ID. Is this a possibility? We get everybody IDs and then we have voter ID? Like, couldn't the government, isn't this a thing that could happen theoretically? We say, what year is it now? It's 2026. In 2036, we're going to have voter ID. And we're going to give the government 10 years to get every single voter ID. Now everybody has the ID. The problem right now is you don't have the ID. It's going to be the government's job to get you the ID. And if they get it to you, if they are able to do that, then we'll say at the polls you got to have the ID. Let me say all this. I don't think voter fraud is really a thing. I don't believe that that's really even happening. I also don't think it's so crazy to be like, you should have an ID. You should have an ID. You should just have one.
I mean, I say this as someone who voted in 3 different districts.
Don't do that.
I feel like, no, the voter ID thing to me, let me answer your question second. But first, let me just say, to me, that's the perfect example of why it's hard to be a liberal sometimes. Because intuitively, voter ID does make sense. So you're already fighting intuition. So when you're trying to convince someone, because the nuance is where that falls apart. Someone gets married, their name is changed, they don't have access to the birth certificate because it got lost in a fire. All of a sudden, it's very hard to just systematically, that becomes more difficult. But that story is harder to tell than the statement, doesn't it make sense to show an ID to vote? Like, that's easy, and everyone's like, yeah, I get that.
Like, just couldn't we enfranchise everyone with, like, isn't it possible to get everybody? Isn't it possible to get everybody ID? Is that not possible?
I think it probably is, but it's also, I do think, my guess is, unbelievably difficult.
Well, you
Because
have to engage in the bureaucracy to do it.
Exactly.
And it's also taking place at the exact same time that we literally have we have ICE on the streets. And I know I'm not saying that people who are here illegally are attempting to vote, but like there is threat at government buildings about people who are going in there and people are getting snatched and what have you. Like we are living a toxic time right now where I think in good faith we could have amazing conversations about voter IDs, which I think most people agree. Like, yeah, you should be able to having a license to vote is not the craziest thing there. Hopefully, there's a system that we could get people who are able to vote, people who are citizens, where you could have. You could be registered in ways in which that you have ID, and it's very clear. Also, we've all been to voting stations that are all run by 75-year-olds who are just there because, like, yeah, I volunteered and I had time because you assholes won't do it. It's just like jury duty. We're here because we're putting in the work. Like, there could be a better system in place. Unfortunately, I think the insincere argument that is often being made is not people attempting to make a better system. People who are utilizing a fair argument to disenfranchise and to put fear into the system.
In the stress test, the way you know that's true is if it were the case that a voter ID law would disenfranchise more GOP voters than Democratic voters, you know Trump wouldn't be pushing that law. You know it. We all know that for a fact.
I'm not even totally sure about that, only because I think he just wants to cast doubt regardless. So I don't think it even matters. Like
he's saying things like if we'll never win again if this law doesn't pass. And if this law does pass, we will always win. You know that his intention is to win.
I'm not. Okay, this is crazy talk.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I think it's possible his intention is because that I don't think it's going to pass. Right? SAVE Act is not
As
going
of now,
to.
no.
The Senate doesn't have that.
But I think
although he's holding it hostage now because of all of the housing bill that was supposed to go
Which
through.
can we put a pin in that because that's one of the most frustrating things I've ever experienced.
Okay, wait, but the thing I want to say about the SAVE Act, and maybe this I'm giving him too much credit here, but I think he doesn't necessarily want to win that. I think he wants the argument to be ongoing so that we don't get the SAVE Act, so he doesn't get the whatever. So voting doesn't go exactly how he wants it to go, which is good because if it doesn't go how he wants it to go, then he can always say it's being rigged. I tried to pass this thing, you wouldn't pass it. Haha, so it's rigged. If you had passed it, he might lose. He might lose under his own shit.
See, that
you could do voter ID, you could do every single thing Trump wants, and he could then lose the election. So for him, it's better if you don't do what he wants, so he can say, because you didn't do what I want, all of this is bullshit.
I think that's a very good point. Totally possible. I also think if we did all the things he wants and he lost, it would be he would find a new reason for that being.
Sure.
It won't be like he's like, well, I don't know what to do. You passed my law and I lost. I guess I really did. I do think he would find another way to say that's bullshit. I didn't really lose.
Yeah.
Totally. He has no interest in the actual work of governing.
Yeah.
I think what we're sort of hoping here is that there was a desire to actually govern better. And that there was a space where this conversation could take place with somebody who had a different political belief and was open to have that nuanced conversation. Unfortunately, I don't think that time exists right now.
Yeah. So with the voter ID thing, basically it sounds like what we're saying is, I think we agree on this, that it in a perfect world it could work. But in the practical reality of the world that we're in, because there are like so many bad actors, the ability, like trying to enforce something like that basically effectively is going to disenfranchise, I don't know, millions, hundreds of thousands of people.
I think it.
Or do you guys, or am I just wrong and like it's something that we just shouldn't ever be trying to do? It's bad.
It feels like it's trying.
I'm open to that.
It feels like we're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right now, and I think that is especially with government. I mean, this is like pulling back from like literally like poli-sci 101. But the executive's job is to set the agenda. So what we're talking about, that's like their primary role. And making us focus on solving a problem that doesn't exist necessarily precludes us from solving other problems that do exist.
I think the focus
and that's
there,
the main problem.
And that's you see that I think the Supreme Court argument about the it's like the trans students in high school sports and middle school sports to me is an example of like an issue that can be discussed, and there are opinions on both sides of the appropriate way to handle it, but I don't think it is a actual issue that is affecting many in this country. I think that even the numbers with the case that was taking place, it was like the only case within that state. And yet I think the GOP is weaponizing that as an issue, and same thing with the SAVE Act as like, we want to put all the focus on this because we can win this as far as getting people upset and angry, as opposed to actually doing the hard work of doing any fucking thing else.
And this is why the housing bill is one of the most frustrating things I've ever experienced as an adult, because Democrats and Republicans come together to solve an actual problem that's affecting real people. And when was the last time that happened? I mean, I guess COVID stimulus package, that was bipartisan to some extent. Mm-hmm. But that's a very rare thing. It's a very rare thing for both houses of Congress to be like, yeah, that's a problem. Let's get on that and do it. And the fact that he doesn't even sign that, and he holds it up to push a bill that's solving a problem that doesn't exist, is so frustrating.
Is there besides the SAVE thing, is there like some ulterior motive for why he wouldn't want that thing of its own to pass?
Maybe he has donors who are giant companies that want to. But I think it's the SAVE Act. I think
it's a chip to play. Yeah, it's the chip to play, because they would have to get rid of the filibuster as of right now to pass that act, and he's pushing as hard as he can.
Do you guys think they should get rid of the filibuster in general?
I don't know. I don't know if enough.
I don't know if I know enough about it either. I don't think so either. Although, I mean, there were times that I've wanted them to get rid of the filibuster because of, but government is broken, and nobody's working together to get any shit done. And so I do think there maybe needs to be some extreme measures to get shit done. Like in some way, I think if we had a progressive Congress, I think you should have 12 fucking Supreme Court justices. I think D.C. should be a state. I think you should get rid of the Senate altogether. I don't think the Senate is a good representation of America. I think there's some big changes that you could try to push for. I think you'd have to get rid of the filibuster to make any of those things happen, but I don't know. It's clearly government is not working for anybody else. I think when I got into paying attention to the government, it felt like there was at least a delineation between politics and governing. You used politics to get to a space where you could do the governing, and governing is hard, but politics is living in certainty. Governing is living in moderation and trying to get shit done. And especially in this Trump era, there's just no interest in governing, and it only feeds to his base, who have grown so distrustful of a government being able to govern. Like when I would go into the field, I was like, oh, you want Trump to win because he's your guy. When you make an argument, especially in the Hillary days, an argument as to what government can do for you, what have you, there's a complete disconnect between like what government does for you. And some of this is educational, like the roads that you drive on and what have you are paid for through what the government can and cannot do and the taxes that you pay. But there's no expectation from so many people that the government will do anything that benefits you. At which point then you have just a governing body who is nihilistic. And Trump swings in there and is like, I can just feed that nihilism. The problem is when I get put into a position of power, I have to keep that nihilism going, and yet I have all the levers.
That's what's so funny when they rail against, they rail against elites and the powerful people who control
Right.
Like they control everything. Yeah.
It's you.
And that's
like against the mainstream media. It's like the most watched news in our country is Republican news. So
yes. That's why I thought Dan Bongino to me was one of the funniest character arcs in this world, because he's outsider guy railing against the establishment, railing whatever, and then he gets into power and he just hates it. Obviously hates it. And I think Kash Patel kind of too. They get in, they're like, well, this sucks. I have to file an expense report. Like, they don't want to do that. They want to sit on they want to do this. They want to sit on a podcast and complain. And then they get in power and they're like, they don't know what to do with themselves.
You were talking before about having grace for the people that you're interviewing out there. Do we have any grace for those people? For the Kash Patels, the Pete Hegseths, the Donald Trumps? Are you ever like, that poor guy, I must admit, it's gotta be tough? I personally, I don't think I do. I can't muster the sympathy for whatever those people have been through to put them where they are. I think I extremely dislike every single one of them. Hang on. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is there one that's okay? Like, is like 5% of what RFK is trying to do okay? Is
Well,
something?
yes,
I would say
that's the problem.
the
5% is. Like, and then he does something insane. You're like, no, just do the good
Well,
stuff.
half of RFK is Michelle Obama's plan, and like that, it just is told through the mellifluous tones of RFK Jr. And so the right hears it.
I think I think about, and maybe this is bad too. I can't imagine. I just can't believe we're in a world where like the guy who sounds like that, it's like that's who we're picking. You're in charge of the health. It's you. It's absurd to me.
It's a condition, Michael. It's a condition.
I've never.
You can't make fun of
Have
this
you
much.
ever met or heard of a single other person with it?
Doesn't Susan Collins have it?
If not the exact, but it's
Is that what prevents her from speaking out on literally everything?
What did you say?
Spasmodic dysphonia.
Do they both have it?
I don't know if Susan Collins does, but
Oh.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Neither of you have ever met a single other person with it.
I have never met someone with it.
Okay.
I don't think I have. No.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
In this house, we believe science.
Sure. But
Aren't you more freaked out by the jeans and the push-ups?
Oh,
and
I'm freaked out by all that.
Yes,
all
okay,
of that. I
yeah.
mean, he like swims in the
sewer.
in the sewer water. He's snorting the drugs off the toilet seat. All of that. But just like if you knew nothing about that person, you don't know anything about him, and you got 5 guys applying to run all the health of the entire country, you're telling me the second that guy opens his mouth, you're not like, nope, not him. I'm not.
It's a condition, Michael. We can't do that.
That's okay.
Stop it.
All right. Maybe you have to cut this out. I don't know. I just can't imagine. You could have any other job. Not any other. You can't be. Whatever. There's a bunch of other jobs you can't specifically have. But I just think if a person.
But there was one person who made the choice for that guy to have this position. And
Yeah.
that was Donald Trump. And he did it because RFK Jr. was like, well, fuck it, I've been critical of you, but now I love you. Could I get a job? And that's all you got to do in that administration. If you do that quick turn of like, no, you're my guy now, you get a job.
Do you think? I think a lot of people think of Donald Trump as like kind of this mad genius. Do you give him any kind of he's so good at? And he became president, so they sort of like use that as ipso facto. Something about this guy is genius. Is there any place where you give him credit? You're like, okay, at least he is really good at this.
I thoroughly dislike that argument. I do think he is unique in so many different ways. And many of those ways are a net negative. I do think he is uniquely self-interested and focused, and uniquely been given so much opportunity throughout his life that his connection to failure and caring about other people has never been fostered in his family or his upbringing in a way that allows him to make choices, like in a way that exposes the things American democracy has been leaning on for years. I mean, so much of it like depended on the idea that like, well, but in the end, they're going to be patriotic to this country. And so Richard Nixon, for the good of the country, will step down during Watergate because it's for the good of the country. And then somebody comes up here, it's like, well, what if for the good of the country doesn't matter to somebody else and for good of me is truly inherent in who their personality is? I think that makes him very unique and compelling and strange. I don't think he's a genius thinking 4 steps ahead.
I agree with that completely. I agree with you. I just wanted to pose the question. I feel like his sort of superpowers are absolutely sort of irrepressible, like inexorable vanity and complete and total lack of shame. Sort of like with the Nixon thing where it's like, any person would be like, oh, okay, you got me. You got me, I fucked up.
I think lack of shame is 100% his superpower. It's like, and that's what he can go so far with that. And what was compelling, if I was looking for things to be, if not compliments to him, especially in his like when I was talking to people in the MAGA world, where I was like, I see being completely unpredictable as it could be a potential benefit for international affairs, for negotiation. I don't think he is a good negotiator because I think of that self-interest. That being said, he is totally unpredictable on the international scene, and therefore there were times in the first administration where I think the Madman Theory is a compelling theory. I don't think he's wielding that out of a sense of genius, but I see other countries are like, I don't know what the fuck he's going to do. And America hasn't had a president who they didn't know what the fuck he was going to do. Now you see what not actually having a doctrine to live by, it puts you in a place where suddenly you're just going to be in perpetual war with Iran and pissing everybody off. So I don't think I think we're seeing the end of what the Madman Theory can break you, but I think that was one element of who he was. I was like, it could be, if properly utilized, could be a benefit to the American people.
Yeah, and I don't want to get it confused. I have sympathy for people who voted for him. I think you could have voted for him for good reasons. I think you could be, I mean, maybe not things that I agree with, but sincerely held beliefs. You could be, your pro-life is the most important thing to you. Then I understand why you would vote for him. Or, you do feel like rightly so, that the government has fucked you in like 100 million ways. So let's get this outsider in. And the last time he was president, he kind of was reined in. All like the people he got around him were kind of, a lot of them stood in his way. So like, well, now what happens if he's unleashed? Now he's unleashed, and it's like, oopsie daisy. Oopsie. Turns out.
I miss you, Rex Tillerson.
Yeah, or what's the guy? John Kelly? Is it General Kelly?
Oh yeah, Kelly. Yeah.
There are people there who even, however we feel about them, they were like a stone in the river of his madness, and I think all the stones are gone now. It's all river. People pouring more water into the river.
I mean, I voted for him, but I understand what you're saying for sure. I understand. I get what you're saying.
Thank you for saying that.
What do you think happens in 28? What do you think happens? Well, let's back up actually. What do you think happens in the midterm? Senate, House, neither. What do you think happens? If you had to guess right now.
I mean, I'm no pundit, man.
I'm no pundit either. I'm no pundit either,
bro.
man.
I think Maine is going to be tricky for the Senate.
Oh, wait. Let's talk about that fucking guy. Can we talk about Platner?
You want to talk about Platner?
Can we talk Platner real quick?
Let's talk Platner.
I should also say that every other episode of this podcast, like we talked about there being like, I think the last episode that we recorded, Douglas said, it's the first I've ever heard someone say that there was shit in my pee. You know what I mean? Like that's other episodes have been like that. This is the first episode where we're like really getting into it, and I'm loving it.
Is this good? You're enjoying this?
No, I love it.
Do you wish you wore something different because we've actually elevated the conversation?
I think my outfit sort of represents the level of expertise that I have on any of these subjects.
That's fair. Okay, I respect that.
Michael walked in today and said, I want to talk about Graham Platner in my WNBA Jam t-shirt and shorts.
Shout out! There's a lot of liberty propaganda on this pod, and I'm all for it. This is Sabrina Ionescu. Just Sabrina Ionescu. Shout out! I know you watch Sabrina. But wait, Platner. Mm-hmm. Okay,
If only there had been a way to know he might suck earlier. If only we had some sort of like clue.
I was. This
Did
is
the
one
Nazi tattoo. Did it do anything for you? I remember.
This is one of my huge uncertainty areas because I saw he had the tattoo that I guess is not a swastika. I'm gonna expose how little I know about this, but he has a tattoo that's like not a swastika, but it's like a Nazi thing. It's a thing that Taten.
I forget what it's called. It's like a generic SS symbol. Yeah.
Okay, and then what else was there? There are also a bunch of like harassment complaints, and now there's been a credible accusation of rape. Has there been more than one?
That I can't speak to. I know there were a lot of accusations of bad behavior. There were some text messages, some inappropriate text messages, I believe Reddit posts from years ago that he distanced himself from. There's ex-girlfriends who were talking about abusive behavior, I believe, and then there's this new credible. It feels like this last accusation is the one that he's.
It's just
going
every week there's a new fucking bad thing coming out about this guy, and people who I really respect on social media and on the news being like, this is one of the saviors of the Democratic Party, and I was always like, wait, I think that might be wrong.
I think it just speaks to how upset people are with any incumbent and the establishment in general. I think he's an outsider. He presented himself as a working class hero who's going to fight for affordability and these issues that it looks like no one in power is fighting for, except for the housing thing, which we could have done. But I think that his appeal, from my perspective, can be almost completely chalked up to that. I think if you are outside of the establishment, people are going to like you more. And that's why I'm worried about what's going to happen now. People are going to feel like they're getting Kamala. They're going to be like, you're telling us now, outside of the context of a primary, this is who's running, and you expect me to vote. And I'm scared that they're not going to vote for this person because, literally, maybe on some level, because they're being told they need to instead. Maybe. I don't know. I also don't know. I don't know a lot of Mainers.
It's just the thing that bugs me the most, as goes back to what we were talking about before, was the not to plug our own segment, full-throated endorsements of Graham Platner coming out of every place. Everybody was so sure. Not everybody, but the people who were sure were positive. I just felt like there was very little cautious optimism in the punditry.
You speak to him as he before all of this, or even in the middle of some of this, he came across as authentic, no nonsense, and it's speaking to people who are craving that. I think of like Zoran here and how he was able to cut through even local New York liberal media who wasn't giving Zoran a chance the first 6 months of it all, with no money and all that kind of stuff, because he felt authentic, felt compelling. He cut through all of that, and there was such a desire in the electorate here for somebody who could speak to that. I think that's bubbling up all across the country. I think the politics has much less to do with it, whether it's far left, whether it's middle left. I think it's just authentic. Who's a person who feels like they're actually talking to you? And Graham Platner felt like that. I can see why people were drawn to him, to their own detriment of not seeing some of the signs that were perhaps
If only there
tattooed
had
across
been
your-
some.
If only there'd been a sign or two.
Something. A clue.
All right, so I'm sorry to sidetrack. What do you think? We were talking midterms.
Oh.
What do you think?
Well, actually, on the Platner thing, did you see that McDreamy was being floated?
And then he said, I only knew it when he said he wasn't going to run.
I found
for
out the
Senate.
day he said he wasn't
Wait,
going to.
who's
also.
McDreamy?
What's his real name?
From Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, the doctor, Dr. McDreamy. He lives in Maine, I guess.
Patrick Dempsey?
Patrick
Mm-hmm.
Dempsey.
People want him to run for Congress?
Some people were floating him as a potential candidate.
I get why you're surprised, except
Oh,
you know
no.
who just dropped out?
Graham Platner?
Who was an oyster farmer, an accused rapist oyster farmer. So you're like, oh, the incredibly successful Hollywood actor wants to run. Now, a year ago, you'd be like, that's crazy. What background does he have? I'm like, well, actually pretty good. I think he could do well.
But Graham Platner also kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like wasn't he like selected kind of by these powers that be?
Oh, I don't know about this.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, then I shouldn't say that. I lied. I lied. I'm wrong.
Is that what you can do? You can just do that?
That's our sign for it goes away.
Oh, wait, have I just had a flamingo over my head?
Yeah. That's that's in your rider. You said 2 flamingos.
Oh, two flamingos.
in a planter.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's in the rider. We have to keep it.
It's in the rider.
If
Keep it
anything,
there.
move it closer to him. Put it on his.
That's not
put
one
it
of the.
on his
That's not like a
lap.
swinger symbol, is it? Like
No,
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 What is
definitely
that?
not.
Is that pineapples or is it flamingos? What is
No,
it?
that is not a sign that you're into like some really interesting,
Either way,
really interesting
I just
sexual
say if
stuff.
you're listening, guys, I'm down to party. I am also a dad, so I got to be in bed by 9 o'clock, and because pickup's early in the morning too. I do have a day job too, so the timing's going to be hard. But
We haven't talked about that. What about just life, man? What about life? What about life? You're a dad. How old's your kid now?
5.5.
5.5?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
but I'm not going to talk too much about a kid on a podcast. So sorry.
Okay, well then forget that. Okay, forget.
What
don't-
do you do? Do you talk about? Well, I mean, you've done a one-person show about it all as well.
I talk about my kids. I'm much more careful about them now than I was when they were like babies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now, I am careful to not say anything that I don't want to say anything that I think they would interpret negatively, even if I mean it positively. Do you know what I mean? So I understand what you're saying. Basically, I only talk about them if I think it's something they would be happy to hear on whatever the fuck it is I'm doing.
right.
Does that make sense?
When you tell
Yes.
jokes, because in your one-man show, you tell jokes. You tell a couple stories about each of them.
Yeah.
Did you run those stories past them to say, hey, this is the story I want to tell? Are you comfortable with
Some
me
of the
telling it?
jokes in there I have been telling for years, since they were like babies. But yes, for that show, for that show, I asked them if it's okay if I talk about them. And there are still occasionally, like when I do stand-up, jokes that originate in stories about my kids. And I always ask them, is it okay if I talk about this? Now, I think that's like, it's sort of problematic. It's like there's obviously a massive power dynamic there where like I'm your dad. So I do the most that I know how to do is to ask them. And
You're holding a box of pizza and opening it.
Yeah,
and then if they
exactly.
start to say no, you start to close it, and then they start to say you open it again.
That's yes, exactly that. So the best I can do is ask them and hope that either if they say no or I feel like I detect any hesitation on their part, that I would not talk about whatever it is. But I think most of the time at this point, I'm not doing jokes about anything. I'm not saying anything bad about them in my stand-up.
See, I wonder if you guys relate to this. When I'm thinking back on things that happened to me, even as a child, I'm nervous that the person who I'm talking about will somehow come across it, and I'm not even naming them, but they'll hear it, and either they'll just be sad that I told the story, or they'll remember it slightly different, and they'll be like, "That's not how it happened," and they'll be mad at me.
They will definitely remember it different, and they will be mad. They will be mad at you. You are correct.
I have a twin brother. When we were kids, he had a guitar teacher. I went in his place one day, and I took his guitar lesson as a prank because we were both twins. When he arrived and said, "Ha ha, it's a prank," his guitar teacher picked me up in the air and spanked me.
Really?
That actually happened.
Picked you up. How old were you?
Yeah.
24.
I'm trying to think. It was last year, so.
And did he like? Did he do it like rhythmically? Was it like a musical element
I
to the
feel like-
spanking? Was it like a?
That's a G minor. No, I think it was playful. Like, I don't think he was like, "I'm going to beat this kid." Like, I don't think he had any malice. I feel like it was like fun. Like, I think he was.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I'm probably gonna have us remove this whole thing.
Oh,
but
come
my point is, that's a story that I've considered approaching comedically, and I'm nervous to do that because I'm scared that he's going to somehow come across this and be like, "Oh man, well, either I feel bad I did that, or I don't think that the way you're saying it is accurate." Like I'm like,
But he will live in. He will be anonymous in the story if you went
Anonymous,
publicly,
yeah.
right? So he would be anonymous. So there would be nobody to tie him. He would not be approached about the story from anybody else unless
no,
he
it
sought
would just
out,
be
right?
him. It would just be him.
Do you have a relationship with that person now?
No.
Yeah.
I feel like in a story where an adult picked you up and spanked you. That's
I think
not
just
your.
one-
That's not
just
your
one hit, I think.
That's not your parent. You own that story.
That's your story.
There's a dynamic that I haven't really articulated in my mind, but sort of like, whoever gets the worst end of this interaction, that person owns the story. They can tell it whenever they want.
Okay,
That's
well,
how I feel.
Let me try this one then, because I don't know. I don't think I got the worst end of this one, and we'll cut this if we don't like it. I had a cardiologist.
What that means is we're gonna cut it.
I had a
Great.
cardiologist.
Then I guess tell the story. We're all listening. Take your fucking time.
Yeah, Jordan's got unlimited time.
Well, how do you feel about? How do you ever feel nervous about this? Either of you?
I do want to hear this story. I think it is. Yes, I think there are people who are public figures that you got to be careful telling stories about. I tell a story about an interaction I have with President Clinton, but he's a very public figure, so that feels pretty fine talking
You said
about.
President Clinton.
President Clinton. He was Clinton.
I'll
Clinton.
look him up.
Look him up.
He's a public figure.
He's a public figure.
Okay.
I just actually did a stand-up bit, kind of at Union Hall, and I talked about a friend of a friend, and it was sort of I was making fun of this person, and I told my wife that I did this bit about it, and I was like, there's something in here because of this. See, I'm talking completely vague about it right now because I am like, I think the details that make this story funny are very much traceable to this other person. And I think because of that, what is funny about that is very specific vitriol towards this person, and it outs the way I've been feeling about this person in our life in a way that I don't think I can utilize that for comedic purposes. Even though to me there's something very funny about it, it articulates something larger, and I think so. There's meat on the bone there, but I think any attempt at trying to dice it is going to
reveal all the anonymity will be removed.
It will be removed, even if I change a name or whatever. I'm like, I think that's off the table.
Because I have a bit of my stand-up. It's about a guy I host a podcast with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I don't know how to. I don't know. I want to keep him anonymous.
Yeah.
But I think he's a bad person, and the bit is basically talking about how he's like a pervert, and it's a long bit, but I don't know how to do it.
I'm not a pervert. I just like what I like. That's all. Cut that out.
That's the clip. Clip that.
Cut that out.
Okay, so I have a cardiologist who, when I told him I was afraid of dying, told me I don't need to be afraid of dying because when you die, you just return to him. And I said, "What do you mean?" And we all know what he meant. And it ended. The appointment ended with him recommending a book about Jesus. Now, I don't think he was being cruel. I think he was legitimately, I think he was trying to help me. But obviously that was a disconcerting experience for me because I want him to be concerned about me dying suddenly. I want him to share that concern.
You own that story. That story is
You think
yours.
I own that story?
I have a couple doctor stories that I've wondered if I go public with. Like I had my first colonoscopy a couple weeks ago.
Congrats, by the
Hell
way. I'm
yeah,
so sorry I
dude.
missed that. Yeah.
Up top of the colonoscopy.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I
Thank you.
remember it was coming. I'm so
Thank
sorry,
you.
man.
Anyway, my colonoscopy doctor, I went in to do the pre-thing, and he was a Daily Show fan. And so he was very excited about the procedure.
Oh my
and
God! Call an Uber and leave. Thank you so much. Always nice to meet a fan. My car's outside.
But this was one of those things where I was like, I wanted it.
You can't say. I'm sorry. You have to go. You're about to roll. The colonoscopy experience specifically. You're about to roll on your side and almost fall asleep while he does this thing.
Well, but you want your what is it? It's a what is the
like a scope.
A scope.
No, yeah, but what is the guy? The doctor is
Gastroenterologist.
Yes, yeah. You want him to like you and
Yeah.
take care.
And
So
it might be the best case scenario.
It was hard to tell. Like comically, he was a little too excited about it, and so I would get like text messages, and I had like a scheduling issue, and I had to cancel. And he couldn't get me on the phone, so he left me a couple like panic messages if I was okay and whatever, because I had like, I don't want to get too into depth with what was going on, but he was really reaching out a lot and showing that he cared. And then I went, and he was like making joke, like literally walked in there. He was like, "It's my favorite late night host in here," like joking with everybody. Now everybody in this room that literally is about to go up on my ass. They're all very aware of this, and they're googling whose ass is this.
They're putting headlamps on as they're googling you.
So in this moment, I was very torn of like, do I tell? Because if he's following the whole career and he's listening to this podcast, then he maybe knows that. But I'm not. I think he would maybe laugh at the fact. He would. There's no untruth in this.
I mean, I think it's a naturally funny situation. Again, to me, you own that story. That story's yours.
Yeah, it's funny because when you said that, not even for a second did I think you shouldn't be sharing this. But if it was my story, I would also feel self-conscious about it. I just think.
Do you think the doctor would be embarrassed to hear this on a podcast?
I think he might be hurt that his attempt to comfort me was received.
You're talking about the cardiologist now.
Sorry. I thought that's what you.
I'm only worried about myself.
Neither of you even knows who the other person is talking about.
How does my gastroenterologist? Am I saying it correctly?
No.
How does he feel about me telling that story that I just told?
Well, you know what? Maybe he would be embarrassed that he, like, if he's, if like another doctor. Let's say here's the scenario that I would spiral on if I were you, and I don't think you should. Let's say that doctor has since gone on to tell other people in his clinic, "I'm so excited. Jordan Klepper is one of my patients."
Okay.
Already violating HIPAA.
Hippocratic oath, right?
And at least HIPAA. I was going to say Hippocratic oath. That's crazy that there's HIPAA and the Hippocratic oath.
Can you say the other thing you were trying to say?
Stay focused.
That is crazy, though. Everyone say it.
It's a little crazy.
That's
It's a
wild.
little crazy.
That's wild.
It's crazy.
Actually,
That's crazy. They have nothing to do with one another. Okay, let's just say he's told people he's excited about it. Then they hear the story and they're like, "Oh, that." I think he should be a little embarrassed about how he acted.
But that to me, that I feel fine with that situation because that's come up. It's already, if he shared it with other people, he knows he shouldn't do that. And if he's a little embarrassed because they saw this and now they're making fun of him, well, that's kind of on him.
Yeah.
So if he
This is how I feel about it. This is on him. Everything he has earned, if there is going to be any fun to be made at his expense, he has earned that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But he has done. I think that like a doctor should have a certain level of impersonality with, like you should have good bedside manner. You should be warm and considerate and all those things. But I think to express a fandom is something that's it just feels a little beyond.
But here's the thing. You know what feels worse? If he didn't recognize me. I think that's my burden. But
Yes.
I would, at some point I'm like, you're going up my ass and you know nothing about The Daily Show, let alone The Opposition, a lot of the other works, the improv shows I've been a part of.
But
You haven't even Googled it?
But he's
What?
a big fan of the Klepper docuseries.
He loves the Klepper
the
docuseries.
6-episode docuseries that existed between The Opposition and the Return to the
I'm
Daily Show.
assuming as much that he's done at least that homework.
He loves that.
But I think that's so funny. That twist of it is for if you want to use it in your
If I want
stand-up.
to use that.
But I think that's so fun.
Well,
Like, what am I going to do? Go to a doctor who doesn't recognize me? Nothing could be worse.
No doctor's ever recognized me, but yeah.
No?
I'm trying to think.
But wait, okay, so go back to your guy. I think that it is, to me, I think it is like not literal, like legal malpractice, but I think the thing he said to you is malpractice. Like, I don't think you should say to one of your patients, dying is chill as hell, because don't worry. Like, you definitely don't. Obviously,
But I
the
think
doctor
what he
shouldn't
was
be saying
trying
that
to
to you.
do clearly is take someone who's a little bit of a hypochondriac and say, hey, you're feeling all of this anxiety. You really don't need to. I think that's what he was trying to do in
Sure, but
in his heart.
but he's also like kind of proselytizing,
A little, yeah.
and that's
little
what
bit.
he shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
That's
Also,
not
like, in many ways, in my perspective, that's just like the opposite of medicine. Like, his job.
yes.
Like, if he's like, oh, don't worry, there's, this goes wrong, I fuck it up, don't worry, there's this great thing that happens afterwards. Like, that's, to me, proof that he's an even worse doctor.
Well, see, that was I'm not trying to. Maybe he's incredible at it, but I was in the moment. My primary thought was, I'm not even addressing whether or not you're wrong. I need you in this role to not be thinking like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, there's no
In
backseat.
this role, you have to really want me to not die suddenly from a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. I have no judgment about your religion. I don't want it to be part of a conversation that we are having about whether my heart keeps going.
Yeah.
That I don't want to talk about it here.
Yeah.
When we see each other on the street or when I run into you at church, we can talk about it all the time. It's how.
And I run into him all the time. Yeah. I told you this guy's my neighbor, right?
I had a cardiologist recently who, I'm fine, don't worry about me, guys, I'm totally fine. But I went in to see a cardiologist, and the first thing he said was like, oh my God, you're a giant. How tall are you? Like,
Who are the doctors you people are seeing?
well, I still don't know how to find a doctor. Are doctors impossible to
so
find?
hard to find.
It's so hard to.
They're
I'm
so hard to find.
You can't, like, you Google it. There's no Yelp for doctors. I go to a couple of the hospitals. I get recommended. They're all. It's crazy.
Isn't there a like what's ZocDoc? Is that something?
ZocDoc helps you find doctors for sure.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I'm
know
not-
what it is, but I know that it exists.
Yeah, but I'm not going to just trust a cardiologist off ZocDoc, am I?
I don't know. I guess my dad's a doctor, so a lot of my doctors come from
Must be
like
nice.
that.
I think finding cold calling doctors is very confusing to me. And also where you go, the first step. Do I always have to go to a GP when I'm having an issue so they can send me to somebody else and they're just sending me to like who their pals are? It's all very confusing.
But what happened with your cardiologist?
My cardiologist couldn't get over my height. Never met the person. Sit down. Like literally, it's like, oh my God, you're a giant. Like, how tall are you? Like, I'm 6'4". He goes, that's a giant. Do you know, legally, that's a giant.
Is that
He's a
true?
giant. That's what he said. He was like, if you're over that, you are technically a giant.
How small?
Wow.
How small is he? Is he tiny?
He was. I would say he's got it.
He's 4'5".
He's 4.
Wow, you're legally you're a giant.
He lives inside of a shoe. I
If
thought
you guess my name, I disappear.
when you said, do you know that's legally a giant? I thought you were gonna say like, do you know Shaquille O'Neal?
Well, this is what I made the joke. He was like, "That's a giant. So few people are giants." I said, "Well, tell that to the New York Knicks." And he goes, "Why are they tall?"
No.
Yeah. And then I'm rethinking everything here. I'm like,
What does that even
who the
mean?
fuck is this guy? I was like, and then I have to drop the minor attempt at levity where I'm like, oh yes, well the New York Knicks, their basketball players are very tall. He's like, oh really? Like giants? I'm like, they're very tall. Most are taller than me. And he's
See,
like, wow.
It
I
sounds
trust
like
this guy because this is a cardiologist who doesn't care about anything else. This guy's so deep in his books and reading all the studies, he doesn't even know what
He
basketball
learned the
is.
word height that day. That was something he learned about the day that he met you.
Although it would have been fun if he knew what, if he didn't know any of that, and then he all of a sudden pulled out, well, you are taller than Jalen Brunson. I went to the eye doctor the other day, and while I was sitting in the chair,
This is just three old guys now. What this podcast is. It's three old guys.
oh my God. I went to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor said, "You must work out a lot," and I am floating.
Yeah. Oh God.
I
now
mean, that is one of the nicest things.
That's incredible.
And then she said, because look at this, the vascularity in your eye. And then
God damn it.
She was pointing at the picture that they had taken of the inside of my eye, and she was like, because if your veins look like this in your eye, that means your vascular system in general is just doing well. So you must work out a lot. And I was like, oh, okay.
No, but it wasn't so bad. It wasn't bad.
But it wasn't.
You can put your shirt back on. Thank you very much.
I'm doing push-ups on the ground.
You're doing burpees in the doctor's office what is it? What is that one?
Ophthalmologist?
No, just this was just an ophthalmologist, not an ophthalmologist.
Is that
what?
separate from an optometrist?
This is an optometrist, not an ophthalmologist. Ophthalmologist.
This is
All I'm saying is HIPAA is the first two syllables of Hippocratic Oath. It is crazy. Those are two different things.
I have, just to contribute to this conversation, I have had a few colonoscopies. Have I talked about this on here already? I've had a few colonoscopies. I'm a fan. I love a colonoscopy.
And I hate him.
The nap. People talk about the nap. The nap was all
nap
right.
is deep.
But
nap is
the day
bad.
before was not good. I did not like the day before. It was a groggy day after.
It doesn't bother me that much. Oh, I feel recovered. Once I'm out of the nap, I'm out.
I was groggy.
No. And I think they always use propofol, right? You have the white. It's the white.
It's propofol.
Propofol is the anesthesia they
It's
give
the
you to knock
Michael
you out.
Jackson, yeah.
I don't know. Should I have known that? Should I have known what type?
I mean, maybe you shouldn't because the nap wasn't that good for you. For me, the
No,
nap.
you had. I think it's always that.
There's no nap in the world. There's no time ever felt as at rest or at peace as during a colonoscopy.
No, I've heard that. I'm not going to disagree with it. But you feel nothing. You fall asleep and then you wake up.
That's
So
right.
there's no experience in between.
That's
I mean,
correct.
your butt is being probed, but
Yeah.
you don't have any experience.
That's
outside
right.
of that.
That's what I like.
So, do you feel the nap? How are you experiencing the nap?
I guess I think when I come out of it, I feel that I have been gone.
You do.
Do you know what I mean?
You are describing, and I'm not exaggerating, word for word why I hate it.
Oh God,
Something disappears.
I feel like my mind is always so busy, a billion things. I mean, I'm so fucking intelligent and thoughtful.
you're always
I'm
thinking. You
wrestling
really
with
are
all
always
these like
thinking.
profound concepts, etc.
Were
So
you
to
the
have
guy
someone
who
just
used to-
turn it off for a
Didn't
little
you
bit.
say you're not a pervert? You just like what you like earlier.
We cut that out, so no, I didn't say that. No one knows what you're talking about. That's not in this episode.
I don't like it because what you're describing.
That's on the Patreon.
What you're describing is the experience of death. And I don't understand why anyone would have that feeling and go, wow.
Well,
Can't wait to do that
But does that
again in
make you-
2
does
years.
that
as far as you know, that's the
As
experience
far
of
as I
death,
know.
but maybe it's not.
As far as I know.
Are you fearful of death? Doesn't that give you some solace?
Oh, buddy, we gotta
No.
do a whole separate
I was gonna
podcast for how
say,
much
I
he's
should-
scared
I
of
was
death.
gonna- I shouldn't have asked that.
No
I feel like I already
solace.
know you.
No solace.
No solace. That-
solace.
It's just
No
that. It's just that.
solace.
It's just that.
No solace would be a good name for your other podcast about how scared you are of dying.
That's this podcast. That's what I'm trying to make this podcast about.
No, I like the feeling of being turned off. I love it, like just deeply.
But it's
full,
not.
Full
But I think
power
to Jordan,
down.
no. But to Jordan's
when I
point, it's
sleep-
not a feeling. It's you're not having a feeling of being turned off. You're
Says
just
you.
having a blip where you stop feeling something. There's no conscious experience of that.
Okay, that's right. But when I wake up, I have the sensation of having been off.
So you like the experience of having been off.
Yes, and
I
it's not even when I
hate that
sleep.
experience.
It's not the same. I know when I wake up from being asleep, I wake up with knowing that I've been asleep.
See, I also hate falling asleep, but I agree it's different.
That's all.
I felt groggy.
Groggy when you woke up. I felt groggy when I wake up. I'm loopy.
Yeah.
But the next day, I'm good. I'm good to go the next day.
Do you
I'm
guys
good
wanna-
a couple hours later.
Do you guys want to hear something funny that happened on the way to my colonoscopy?
Not really.
Absolutely.
Not actually.
Yeah, actually, we'll
say
pass.
it anyway. I
It's
don't want
like
to say it anyway.
It's like a
bad.
traffic story, or it's like you're in transit.
It actually is in transit.
What do you got?
Yeah, you could use this in your show.
I'm
whatever you say.
I'm on the way to my colonoscopy, and as you know, having just experienced one, you're not allowed to take yourself home. Someone has to pick you up. So my wife is going to come pick me up. I'm on my way to the colonoscopy. I'm in an Uber. Then all of a sudden, the Uber driver says, "You canceled the ride." And I say, "I didn't cancel the ride." He goes, "It canceled. You got to get out." And I go, I don't know. I checked my app and it is like the ride is canceled. So I get out and I'm in the middle of like in between Brooklyn and Manhattan. And then it turns out my wife had called an Uber using my account to come pick me up.
Wait, tell me starting again.
No, don't have him tell that story.
Let me tell it one more time.
No,
What happened? What happened? What was the
Fuck, I
story?
just have to stand.
Oh, this is.
We'll cut that out.
no,
Douglas, cut out that story.
I mean, that's like that's such a.
No, don't talk about it because we're cutting it out.
No, but I have to because it really.
No.
That story is like such a fine story. It really is like that's actually like a remarkably calibrated, fine story because it's not a bad story, but it's not really a story. It's something that happened.
And
it's not. I'm not mad at it, but there's actually nothing to hold on to that's actually compelling about it. But again, but not angry. But it's so just a thing that happened because we know that you got there and it was all fine. There was like moments that almost felt like there was drama. You're gonna get kicked out in between Brooklyn and Manhattan. I'm trying to like place it in my head, but then it was fine. It was.
Yeah, I made it. Everything worked out fine. But
you were in an Uber. The fact that you're going to the colonoscopy made it sound like there was an import, but really it was you took an Uber and then you had to get out because the app was being used by your wife.
Yeah.
And then you took another Uber.
Yeah. But I had to wait for her to finish her ride or something.
Have you ever told anybody else that story? Like have you workshopped it? Was it like the second time you've told that story?
That's been my closer for a few years now.
That's a story you're telling your cardiologist.
Yeah, that's why and then he told me, oh, you don't need to worry about that.
Your cardiologist.
The world will be a much better place once you're gone. Actually, it's a good thing when you die.
Your cardiologist has a podcast where he talks about you telling this story.
And that's when I told him he could die. I told him right to his face, you're allowed to die now.
What should we do? Should we do a segment? Like we probably have to stop. It's got to be. It's 9 o'clock. What time is it?
It's exhausting.
Time of our lives.
What time is it?
It's 5:40.
Okay, so we have a segment that we end every show with, Jordan.
Smooth segue into our segment.
Yeah,
Are you ready for our segment?
Yeah, I love these segments.
The segment is called Full-Throated Endorsement.
Here it is. It's right here.
Not even a new picture, just the same picture.
With different words.
Yeah, but look at that font. What about that font?
It's kind of.
And I had to change the transparency, the opacity.
Oh,
of
you did. Yes,
I made this. I mean, I made it on Canva. Shout out Canva, one of our sponsors. Just kidding. We have no sponsors right yet.
Could be nice.
This could be the big move for us, by the way.
I love Canva. I use Canva. I'm a Canva user.
That's true. Canva, you got to sponsor us. Canva, is it canva.com? It's got to be.
It's a .org, I believe.
Canva.org. Yeah, it's a nonprofit.
.gov.
Canva, you got to sponsor us, or we'll say awful shit. Or we'll say awful shit about you the next episode. We'll say horrible shit about Canva.
Yeah, because trust me, I use Canva, but it's a difficult operating system at times.
Oh, see, we're already hinting at the kind of brutality you could experience in the marketplace. Canva. Think about it. Okay.
Jordan, what's your full-throated endorsement?
I'm going to go pop culture. My full-throated endorsement is for the watch of the television show The Agency.
The Agency?
I'm so excited to hear about this because I don't know about this.
Is that
Nobody's
the one
talking about the show. It's the best.
Is that the
It's
Fassbender
the
one?
Fassbender.
Oh, it's really good.
It's really
Really
good.
good.
I didn't know how. I'm not a. I don't think I'm a huge TV watcher. I like to read. I like to write poetry. I volunteer a lot.
Get back to The Agency.
But I found it the first season last year when it came out and like binged it and loved it. And then this second season, I think it just popped up like last week, and I binged it. I haven't like binged a show like that since The Agency. It's an espionage thriller starring Michael Fassbender. He's freaking great. Jeffrey Wright is in it, who's freaking great. To me, I realized how much I was obsessed with the show 24 back in the day.
Sure.
Loved 24, watched all of 24. Haven't thought about 24 in a long time. Was a very big fan of it in the day, and I realized an espionage thriller. It hits me. It hits all the right spots. You know.
I really liked season 1 of The Agency. First episode we didn't love, so we almost stopped watching it. Mm-hmm. But then for some reason, maybe we know somebody on it or something. We kept watching it. Episode 2, locked in, and then binged the rest of it.
Great.
Absolutely loved it. Fassbender, Jeffrey Wright. Is it Richard Gere, maybe?
Richard Gere's in it, yeah.
And then I can't remember. I don't think I knew the actress who plays like his love interest in it, but she's incredible.
She's there, and there's an actress who plays the new agent who's amazing. I've loved Michael Fassbender. He's been one of my favorite actors for a while. Just compelling, fascinating. It's one of those stories that's got great plot lines, lovely cliffhangers, shot beautifully. I believe it's written by the guy who did the Tom Cruise time travel.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Wow, that's a great movie.
Great
wanna
movie.
say- I wanna
all-time
say-
great action movie.
Yeah,
Jez
Jez
Butterworth is what I want to say.
I think it's Jez
But
Butterworth.
as I say that name, I'm like, this can't be a name.
It's 100. It keeps popping up, and I was like, "Who is this guy? These episodes are great." I'm like, "Of course, Edge of Tomorrow is." Like
I think he's also a playwright. I think Jez Butterworth.
That
I
might
believe. Yeah. I really loved it. I co-endorse your endorsement. It's a secondary endorsement.
Yes.
2 full throats. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. That doesn't sound good. Just change the name of the segment.
You open your throat. You give it 3 full throats.
3 full
You gotta
throats.
watch it first. then
I've
you-
never watched it. My throat remains empty. But perhaps next week, my throat will be full with the agency. Time will tell.
Have you but something I want to talk about with 24, just real quick.
Yeah.
Is remember in 24 when the daughter suddenly was working there? That's when I stopped watching. I was
Well,
like, come on, guys.
That
The daughter's working. She's just because she's his daughter, she can work here now.
well, that's
This is nuts.
Each season had one crazy. I thought I haven't watched it in forever, but like I also remember the coyote. There's like one season 2 or something. There's like episode because 24 episodes, a lot of fucking episodes.
It's 24 episodes, 24 hours, one day,
24
right?
hours,
That's the premise.
3 storylines going in and out. They got a cliffhanger at every act break. It's great and fun. Kiefer Sutherland's a blast, but there's always like they just got to keep churning out drama. And there's one where I think his daughter gets lost in like the Hollywood Hills and gets cornered by a coyote, and it's like that's her story arc. Is that like she can't get away because there's a coyote on the
Guys,
loose.
the daughter
And
needs
you're
a
like-
storyline.
You're like, what is going on here? And every season, always, even the best of those seasons, there's always one thing you're like, oh boy, they had to come up with something.
You know, that's one of those things where is it Cuthbert? Who's the
Yeah,
dog?
Alicia
We're like,
Cuthbert, yeah.
she's just testing so well that they're like, well, we just find some fucking thing for her to
We
do.
need something. It's like, well, we've already spent all of our money on locations. It's like, well, what if
The focus groups love her. Just put her in some fucking do we have a dog? Get a big dog.
a big dog.
Do a
There's
scene with a
hill.
big dog, maybe.
Have her running around on the hill, but she can't leave the hill. She can't leave that. We can't afford for her to leave the hill.
Every episode, she's on the hill with a dog, and then next season she works there.
Yeah, it's just she's fighting with Crafty. I don't know. It all seems pretty insider, but she's great. She's so compelling.
Ah,
That's the podcast. Jordan,
That's it.
thank you for being here. You can catch Jordan on The Daily Show all the time. You can catch him on the road sometimes. Is there anything else you want people to know about?
That's pretty much it. That's where you can see me.
Those are the places. Thank you for listening.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to But Also with Michael and Asher. This was the time of our lives, and we're here in Sweet Tea Studios, and we love you very much. Jordan Klepper was here, and so were you. Goodbye.
If you liked the show, please like and subscribe and leave us a comment. We love reading the comments.
And we got bonus content on Patreon, as far as you know. As far as you know, we have that. So why don't you go sign up for that?
And we love you.